I found the comment. All right. All these videos should be talking about the elephant in the room. American women make the worst girlfriends, wives, and mothers on earth. Majority are selfish, annoying, unhappy, anxious, overweight, and insufferable. Be one of their 100 dicks, soft guy, era date them, zero effort, drizzle, recreational use only. When you're done playing around, go overseas and find a long-term partner who was raised by two parents with proper role modeling and secure emotional attachments. Otherwise, very good chance your expensive gamble on an emotionally damaged American woman has you in divorce court opposite a lying, cheating, vindictive American ex-wife/mother who destroys your family for all the property and a monthly check that makes it impossible for you to start over. And now the kids are fucked. Take a vacation overseas and ask anyone what they think of American women. You'll also be shocked how easy it is to date and fall in love with a woman who isn't ruined by a toxic culture to become overweight, overbearing, uncaring. The rest of the world doesn't hate men. Airplane emoji. And I do have to point out, though, because I did, look at his profile. I'm like, this guy, he's got a lot of followers. He's got like 144K followers. Now, he's got some reels on his account, and all of them have exactly 50K views. So it's a little bit suspect. But in his bio, he does mention that that all his followers came from viral undie videos during lockdown. Deleted, don't ask, careful what you wish for. So I did, unfortunately, look to see what he was talking about, because he did actually post a video that's supposed to be deleted. And it's him standing in his underwear with his, with his flag flying.
You literally gave him way more credit than, or like just even bringing up his profile. I wouldn't even, everything you just recited that he said, if I roll my eyes as hard as I want to, they'll never come back to the front of my face.
But.
So, I responded to that.
Yes.
In the way of many things, but that's a lot to digest. So I guess, do you want to go ahead or I can go ahead?
Well, okay. There's a few points I think that are worth saying.
Okay.
Some of what he said is somewhat accurate, right? In terms of, we live in a culture where, unfortunately, a lot of women are given the wrong message about men, about how they should behave, all those things. That's why also part of the mission of this podcast is to help women and men.
Well, what's the wrong message? Because you're saying they're given the wrong message, but I think they haven't encountered a lot of real men, masculine men.
I agree. It's weird because we were talking about this last night too. It's not like there's one source of the problem that it's because, and there's this constant war, right? Men are like, oh, women are like this. And they've got some valid points. A lot of women are not the most wife-worthy women that you would want to marry and be a mother to your child. But then women are like, oh, men are like this. And they've got some valid points because most men are not the kind of quality man that you would want to settle down with and feel like he could lead you, right? So there's valid points on both sides, but there's this constant war, right? So my point is that, what's happening is that a lot of these valid points, they end up getting turned into a slander instead of something that is constructive, right? Because, hey, we were talking about last night. I mean, I hate to use the terminology, but like there's this term, it's a dumb term. There's a lot of dumb terms called hoflation. Okay. And it's about this idea that specifically Western women, that they have a higher perceived value of themselves because of all the, another word, simp culture of guys just giving them stuff and treating them like celebrities and liking all their photos and stuff like that. So they have a higher estimation of themselves. And there's some truth to it, right? However, when you call it hoflation,
you lose all your credibility.
Yeah, you lose all credibility. No women are listening to that. It's not helping you. You're just
no one is because it's not like presented in an educated, actually informative, trying to help people understand way. Anytime and like we were talking about, like when women say mansplaining.
Exactly.
It's the same sort of term, which like I understand what you're trying to convey, even with men. But instead of actually explaining it, the way that you should explain it, you use a term like that.
That's derogatory. Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Well, and then it just makes you look immature. Mm-hmm. It makes you look like you're now angry when you're trying to discuss this, which makes you appear biased rather than being able to see both sides of the situation and explain one perspective in a way that's matter of fact. Because if you use one of these terms, now you sound exactly like the people who use those terms often, which with guys, with the hoflation, that's men who hate women, and women with mansplaining, it's usually women who are angry at men and are mad at men.
Right.
So yeah, it's like that whole comment that you just read is just littered with that stuff. Oh yeah,
exactly. And it's almost like a copy and paste. Like when I saw that comment, I'm like, where did you get this from? You got this from the source that all of these guys got this from, right? Mm-hmm. Believe me, I know, because I was somewhat part of that community. Not that I was part of the community in the sense that I preached these things. I'm saying that like I was in that
You were trying to preach the right things.
And so I heard these dialogues and like I said, in some variations, some parts of it are accurate, but it's like you didn't think for yourself. You just copy and pasted this, mentally copy and pasted this from someone told you this. Mm-hmm. And with a lot of this stuff, it's not even coming from firsthand experience or secondhand experience. It's some story, because there's this story of this woman who divorced this guy and took all his money and the kids and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, I know that does happen, but most guys that are saying this or quoting statistics about this kind of stuff, it's just some urban legend of a thing, because they don't cite an actual person. They don't cite an actual case. It's not someone they actually knew, right? Or they say, it's just so vague.
The thing is, too, that even in those situations, they assume that a woman left a man just because she was bored. That never happens.
Right.
Unless they did not have any sort of actual meaningful relationship. A woman will never leave a man because she's bored. It's normally because she is tired of feeling unloved by the man that she's with. She's tried to fix it oftentimes in the wrong way. I will say that. Women a lot of times do not know how to fix the relationship and how to convert a man into the loving man that she wants. And then she finally reaches her point where she's like, this is never going to change. I have to do something. And she leaves. It's never... she's bored with her husband and wants a new one. That never happens. That is more likely to happen with a single woman or a woman that's dating rather than a married woman, especially if she has kids. Like, I'm not saying that every mother is perfect, but most women who have kids do not want their husband to not be in their kids' lives.
Right. Yeah.
Because they understand what it would do to the child.
Yeah. And of course, you can find some exceptional cases.
Right. I'm not saying it never, ever happens, but the majority.
But when guys make comments like this, they're trying to make it sound like that's the majority. And again, like I said, some of the values that American values that women have are not great ones. So, but we talk about that on this podcast all the time. But the same thing with men. Right, so we're trying to set those values correctly, but stuff like that does not. Better than